Hello, everyone. Nice to have you with me today. I just felt to come on and share a little. I've been reflecting on energetics, and something that came up was past a life experience that I had in this life that's related to multidimensionality. And yeah, I just felt to come on and share it. So it's about a certain experience. However, I'm going to share about another experience that's related in the sense of what I experienced and the last one that I share with you. So bear with me for a little bit. Um, so yeah, it's just reflective of energetics and working with energies and our abilities and our innate abilities and um, not being aware of them and then being aware of them. So the first part is I was very good at um, moving beyond things, and part of that is I didn't want to feel it. I didn't want to look at it. I didn't want to take responsibility for it. Yeah, there's many layers. So I was working one day. I was creating these portable um, kitchen tables, bench tops, and they had legs with wheels, and you could take them inside and outside. And they're made with native timber and kaikatea ingrain top, so it looks a little bit like a chessboard. And then totara fence posts, which were what all the farmers used back in the day before we had treated timber, and they're very durable. And yeah, there was a lot of them, and I kept the organic shape. And then I used a number eight wire to plait the three bits of number eight wire together to make the drawer handles and the handle for the towel rail. So it's a very Kiwi, New Zealand iconic thing with all those things, traditional butcher's block, the tocha fence posts, and the number eight wire, because we're known for our ability to be inventive. And yeah, we have this thing called the number eight wire mentality. And so I actually literally used the number eight wire in this case. So on this day, in the workshop, I had a piece of the number eight wires in the vise that I'd plaited three pieces, and then I was cutting them clean. And I had my safety goggles on. But those of you who know me know I have a high bridge on my nose. And depending on the safety glasses, there can be quite a gap between the goggles and my face. So I was cutting this number eight wire, and a piece of metal flew off into my eye. And yeah, I felt it. It went into my right eye. I think in my white of my eye. I don't think it was in the blue of my eye, the pupil. Yeah, I think it was in the white of my eye. And it hurt, and I blinked and I stopped. Um, However, I used my let's just carry on. I'm in creative mode and I want to just keep doing this. Um, So I, yeah, just dismissed it. I just kind of blinked my eyes a few times and went, oh, it's okay. Yeah, no, yeah, it's fine. Man, my eyes good. Okay. And I just carried on. And yeah, I didn't feel a thing. I didn't think about it again. And I finished my day. And that evening when I was at home, I felt to check the water tank, which is under the floor in the house. And it's a concrete floor. So there was a big concrete pad that you lift up, and you get a stick and you hold it up, and then I looked in and checked the water. Oh yeah, it's all good. I know what it's there. And then I went to put the lid back down, and the stick slipped out. And of course, I'm sitting on the floor, and I just had my socks on, and the lid caught the end of one of my toes. Sounds like I'm quite accident prone. Actually, I probably was back in the day. Um, it's another story. And yeah, that hurt. I really felt it and could not acknowledge it. Um, and my partner at the time felt that it would be good for me to go to the doctor's in the morning. So I listened to her and I went to the doctor in the morning and he looked at it and I can't remember what happened, but he did what he needed to do. And then he was talking with me and then he said, "Oh, what's going on with your eye?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Your eye, there's something in your eye." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did have a bit of metal come in there." And he said, "It doesn't look good. Let's have a look at it." And he looked at it and I had this hot ember that go in of metal and it burnt through 7 layers of my eye, the skin of my eye, which is, yeah, reasonably serious. But yeah, amazingly, I couldn't feel it at all. So he said it was quite severe for my eye. So he removed off 3 layers of skin, and yeah, I had some drips and a patch, and then came back some days later, and he removed the rest of it and a patch again, and took a little while to heal. So that's just one of the examples of how I was able to just, let's say, bypass something like that, just refuse to be responsible and feel it and experience it. So I was the next part of the journey, some years later. I also want to share with you my teeth as well. I've healed my teeth. Um, so I knew how to work with different energetics. I went to the dentist after years of not going, and I had some rotten-ish teeth and fillings damaged and things like that. So they x-rayed them, and there was 5 that needed attention to at the bottom and 3 on the top on the right side. Interesting, right side again. And so I came to have the 2 at the bottom done first. And when she finished, she said, "Oh, one of them, that bad one, was actually worse than what the X-ray looked like." And I really probably should have pulled it out, but I did do the filling, but it might be uncomfortable after the anesthetic comes off. Um, and then so I went home like that, and sure, it was uncomfortable. And the next week, I was coming back to get the other 3 done at the top. And she did those 3, and then as well, um, similar to one of those on the top, that it was worse than what the X-ray showed, and said the same kind of thing. And what do I want to do about it? And I said, "Oh, look, just," it was actually a couple of weeks before Christmas, and I said, "Oh, look, just leave it with me. Yeah, just leave it with me." And I was already on my path at that time and done quite a lot of different healing modalities and what have you, and observed some things and stepped into some incredible possibilities, creations. And so I also felt at that time feeling discomfort or pain has a purpose. So that day I sat with the discomfort of these 2 teeth and felt into what they were showing me and what I was there to learn. And then that night I went to bed. Um, Before I went to sleep, I had a meditation with the intention that my team and higher self would come in and heal my teeth, that I really needed them. I'd already lost a couple. I have a bridge at the front, so I really want these teeth, and I clearly stated they will stay in my mouth, but we healed in the night, and sure enough, they were. And I've never had a problem with them. They've been fine. I think that's probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. So this next experience, I was, yeah, in an area where I felt guided to go walk out to this point, and I was walking this day. I did some energy work, walked through some light codes, and there was a point where the ocean was vast and yeah, really magical place. Did some work with some crystals, and then there wasn't anyone around. I think it was getting close to autumn, but it was a beautiful day, so it was still warm enough. And so I was naked the whole day, and I was walking back just with my backpack on, And I came to this place where, I was just walking and I just happened to look down and then I was like, oh, and I noticed that I had a lump on the top of my right testicle. And, and in that moment of noticing it, I didn't go into fear. I just went, oh, there's a lump here. And I felt it. And it was about 1.5 centimeters outwards. So like half an inch or so. And then it was 3 or 4 centimeters around. Actually, I've just been tuning into it. I thought it was around 2 or 3, but I tuned in. It was more like 3 or 4 centimeters, which is an inch and a half, something like that, round. So yeah, decent lump. And then I remembered that I felt a possible lump in that area some time before. Like there could be a lump there. I wasn't sure, and I need to pay attention. And of course, I didn't. I forgot about it and carried on with life. Um, However, previous to this experience of finding the lump, it was big. Um, I had had a session with a friend because we were talking about me needing having some stuff around responsibility, and I talked about things that I've just shared with you. So we did some energy work around that. So in that moment, when I saw that lump, I was like, okay, I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to take notice and do what I need to do, whatever I need to do. I will be responsible and I'll look into this lump and heal it. I'll do whatever I need to do. Um, and in that moment, when I said that, I was taken into a timeline. And like I say, I had no fear. So I feel this is part of why this happened. I was just open. And I asked, sorry, first I asked, is this cancerous or benign? And I got the answer, it doesn't matter. And I was like, oh, it's an interesting answer. Doesn't matter. Because it wasn't about whether it was cancerous or benign. It was about just taking responsibility of something that needs attention. So I said yes to that. And then I was taken into this timeline and I was shown this possibility. And it was really real. There wasn't, with all these, what I'm going to share, there wasn't any intention, there wasn't a feeling or a vision or anything. I was fully experiencing just like I'm sitting here in front of the laptop talking to you guys. And I was taken to hospital, went to the doctor, did the prep work, organised surgery. I went to hospital, got put out. I had surgery, cut open, the lump removed, come out. Everything went well. So I went through all that whole experience. And I was observing myself in that experience, and I was really relaxed. I was like really neutral, really fine, wasn't a problem. So I noticed that, and then I just went, yeah, but I wouldn't choose that. Yeah, no, I wouldn't choose it. I wouldn't go that way. And so then that timeline finished, and in came another one. And then I was shown timeline where I was taking natural remedies. So I was working with a herbalist. They had remedies, a tincture, and all the things that I needed to take over a period of time to help heal it and remove. And I can't really remember how long it took, but it was over a period of time, and it all went well. And yeah, it was healed and done. And I again observed that I was very neutral in that and relaxed and okay, yeah, cool, this is fine, I'm comfortable with this. I also said, well, what else? What else is possible here? And so then that timeline left. And then I was shown the next timeline. And what happened in that one was crystal light alchemy. And it was like a laser. it was like this laser coming down from, like I'm looking down at the lump, so the same kind of direction, but more to my right and coming in and hitting it on the left side and just blowing it to pieces. And and as much as that's fascinating to watch, what I've found quite funny was my attention was more looking at the particles flying off, going, I wonder what happens to those particles. I wonder where they go. Anyway, it was coming down and hitting the lump and just blowing it to pieces and removing it. And it went from the left side across all the way to the right side and it was done. And that's all that needed to happen. It happened very quickly. And again, I was in a very neutral, calm, relaxed place. And I said, that's what I choose. I choose that. And that's all I said. And I just noticed that in all three of them, I was the same. I felt the same neutrality in each experience because it was just an experience, you know. I was just choosing. There wasn't any one was good and one was better and one was okay or anything like that. There wasn't. It was just me as my multidimensional self, and that's what multidimensionality is in this story, in this experience, because there's many different ways of relating to it. But that was just simply showing I have choice. So that's what happened. And then I went for a swim and then I carried on walking home. I put my clothes on and I actually came across a possum very shortly afterwards out in the middle of the day, and it's a nocturnal animal and it was out in the middle of the day. So I sat with it and I was very close. I felt like I could have patted it. It wasn't scared of me. I wasn't scared of it. It was just, I just observed it and it was going around picking chickweed out of the ground, and only chickweed, which is a nutritional, well, weed. They say, but I could call it a herb. But yeah, it just showing me it knew what it needed. It wasn't so well, and it knew what it needed, and it was just getting it. And yeah, there was a couple other messages in there that was really beautiful. So that was something that also assisted me in this experience. And so I got home, got to my car, drove home, got home. I'm like, okay, responsible. I'm gonna sort this lump out. So let's have another look. So I took my pants down and went to have a look at it, and it was gone. It wasn't there anymore. And what that showed me is, yeah, a few things. The one that I've been mentioning, that neutrality, like there wasn't any dialogue, there wasn't any human aspect to it of that's better or that's not good, or I would. It was just that I don't choose that. Yeah, I could choose that, but what else is possible? Oh yeah, I choose that, and I didn't say I would choose that or I'm going to do that. I said I choose that. So I'd already knew that that was a possibility. I'd already seen that in the quantum field and said yes to it. So I didn't, in this situation, I didn't need to go into a session, set a field, meditate, bring in energy. That was already happening. That's in that moment when I was shown that possibility, that timeline. And, there's it's quite possible that for that experience, that's all that was required, that it was just showing me that I had done a shift in the energetics around not being responsible and, not feeling and not going into these things. And that was it. Whereas, on another time for my evolution, maybe I needed to experience going into hospital, for instance, which I also have had that happen. Um, I just feel that the more we step into our trueness, and work on ourselves and work through those conditioning patterns and beliefs and delusions and how we identify ourselves as, which isn't true, isn't aligned, and there's many things, and step into our, incredibly amazing, powerful, high ability, multi-dimensional, infinite self, define infinity. You can't, but it's not always accessible. You have to take on the journey. And what I've found with that is, that was a time where I was the embodiment of that possibility. And that's accessible for all of us when we do the journey. And say yes to ourselves and going beyond these realms and the densities that we are often living in. So yeah, I just felt to jump on here and share that, and hopefully it's touched you in some way and dropped some seeds and sparked you up. I really enjoy these kind of experiences and reflecting on them because for me, I have a lot of awareness around a lot of things, and a lot of it's concepts. I haven't embodied them, and some of them I may have embodied at times, like that one, I've had the embodiment experience of it, of high consciousness in moments, and so on and so forth. Um, as we journey more, we can bring it more into a constant. And I feel just saying yes is a big part of it because what's not aligned with yes will present itself, and it could require going into in some depth, or it could just be quite easy to move through. And as we go deeper, we get more tools, and yeah, we see more things and we feed those possibilities. So thank you for being with me today, and I wish you well and much love and abundance, and we'll see you again.